Hello everyone, I'm Siren Jag. I'm a makeup enthusiast and a commentator on the drama and the true crime community here on YouTube. I'm also a panel hopper and I do part-time music and comedy and anything else I like here on the platform. And tonight I'll be investigating some of the comments and posts and various other happenings on the uh, true crime end of things. And I'll have what's on my face in the description. Uh, I went a little bit dramatic with the makeup, as you see. Uh, I figure I'm Siren, so I thought I'd try the siren eyes as they are. So you can see how I did. Hey, kitty. Hey, come here, buddy. Oh, goodness. I'll have I'll incorporate a little bit of fun and I'll teach some lessons. Because apparently some things need to be taught. Some things need to be taught. Let me share my screen. Hey, buddy. Ooh, these eyes, though. Man, I did good, if I do say so myself. Hey, you good buddy. Here's my good buddy. Here's my good buddy. Let me get it set up the way I like it. There. Now, here we go. Bet you all didn't think I was going here tonight, did you? AJ, you all know, as in Save Robbie's AJ, you know, filed a frivolous lawsuit against, well, not a lawsuit, filed a frivolous TRO on Save Robbie with a bunch of bogus claims of harassment. That AJ? Well, I was on panel with One Brutally Honest talking about a video by Pastor Mill, who you can hold the phone a little bit on that. And I mentioned in our tale of mirth and woe that Pastor Mill was going to make 11-5 videos. I think it was Pastor Mill that was going to make the 11-5 videos. And I was enjoying myself during the video and having quite the laughing fit. And AJ said, "Are you okay? 11-5 videos?" And I'm glad, personally, that AJ enjoyed my performance, if you will. I'm glad that I provide entertainment value for Miss AJ. May I call you AJ? Because if I were to call you Miss Room, that might be awkward. I'm happy when anyone enjoys my work. But it seems that you might have an issue with the word 11. I don't know if you're not familiar with it or if you don't think it actually exists, but you're all about veracity, even though, as you might recall, you lied your ass off when I asked you for a little veracity, if you recall. Way back when, that kicked off the entire sequence of my fight with Lufa. So, we're going to talk a little bit about this word eleventy, which is from the Old English. I'm not going to try to pronounce that. That was popularized in the 20th century by the J.R.R. Tolkien's Lord of the Rings trilogy. Perhaps you've heard of it. Um, Informally, it means the number 110. And colloquially, it means some indefinite large number. So if I say, for instance, that you made 11D videos trashing Save Robbie, that means you've made some indefinitely large number of videos trashing Save Robbie, which you have. You see how that works? There. I hope that you have learned something today. Now, maybe you have a little more veracity in your life. But the reason AJ's really in this video, I didn't actually watch this video because I'm not worried about AJ. The reason this video is here is because Pastor Mill posted a comment on it. Pastor Mill commented, "Thank you, ma'am. That was a great video. Are you okay, Siren? I'm making that my ringtone. Thank you very much for seeing things plainly and being truthful on my half. Classic brutally stupid. Hilarious. I enjoyed this video immensely and look forward to your future videos. I'm giving you permission to use my channel's video content however you please. 0 strikes. Love, love, Daisy. Kiss, Rose, starry-eyed laughter. Love, some other emoji. I've also subbed and will share this video on my community page. And I'll be asking my subs to subscribe to your channel and will promote you in a video coming soon. Thank you. God bless. Sending my love and blessings. Heart, praying hands. Pastor Mill." Really? Really, Mill? Now, according to the dictionary, a pastor has a church or a congregation. So, Mill, where's your church? Where's your congregation? But be that as it may, somehow I'm not surprised that you are taking up with the person who filed a false TRO on one Save Robbie. who alleged all sorts of untrue things that were made up, who had to drop that TRO due to lack of evidence for her claims, because they were all untrue. But yet, you believe this person was somehow truthful on your behalf. But you have decided to take up with this person. And there can only be one reason why you are taking up with this person, and that is because this person doesn't like Save Robbie, who you claim not to watch. Now, to my regular viewers, this might come as quite the shock here in the next few moments. But for someone claiming to be a pastor, sometimes you have to go down into what they think is their strength, and you have to clean them out. The eighth commandment of the 10. Of the 10. 10. 2 stone tablets, you know, Moses up on the mount. I'm going to quote this in the King James Version because that's how I remember it from my childhood. It's, thou shalt not bear false witness against thy neighbor. That's Exodus chapter 20, verse 16. And then, for those of you who might be Christian, who claim the Old Testament no longer applies, Jesus Christ himself said that you still have to follow this one in Matthew chapter 18, verse 19. And in case this isn't specific enough for you, when asked to clarify, Moses said in Exodus chapter 23, verses 1 through 3, you shall not spread a false report. You shall not join hands with a wicked man to be a malicious witness. You shall not fall in with the many to do evil, nor shall you bear witness in a lawsuit siding with the many so as to pervert justice, nor shall you be partial to a poor man in his lawsuit. Oh my. And here is Pastor Mill. Here is Pastor Mill joining up with someone, taking that eighth commandment and taking a giant crap on it. She just went up to that eighth commandment, squatted over it, and just made the biggest stinky pile of poop. And she's not the only one in this community making that stinky pile of poop on it. Is she, Miss Cooper? But anyway, as we go on, remember that whole thing that people talk about that I warned Pastor Mill about when he was donating money to Coach Eli, who was horribly incorrect when he said that Gabby Petito deserved what she got. Oh my word, Eli. What the heck? And Mill supports him. I said that Satan would use that support to lead people astray. And Mill said, well, if that's how you want to look at my generosity, I guess. Well, in the Bible, in the New Testament, the Apostle Paul wrote to the Corinthians in 1 Corinthians chapter 15, verse 33, do not be deceived. Evil company corrupts good habits. You know, lay down with a dog, you get the fleas. And in verse 34, right after that, it says, awake to righteousness and do not sin, for some do not have the knowledge of God. I speak this to your shame. That means if you go do things like support Eli or hang out with AJ when she's taking a dump on the eighth commandment, you lead people astray who don't have the knowledge of God. Good job, Pastor Mill. Oh, but that's right. We're not supposed to look at your behavior. You said we're supposed to be looking at Robbie's behavior. You're just doing a holy rebuke. That's right. A holy rebuke, as Christians are supposed to do, right? Well, guess what? Guess what? You know what your Bible says about a holy rebuke? Matthew chapter 7, verses 3 through 5. Jesus said, why do you look at the speck of sawdust in your brother's eye and pay no attention to the plank in your own eye? How can you say to your brother, let me take the speck out of your eye, when all the time there is a plank in your own eye? You hypocrite! First, take the plank out of your own eye, and then you will see clearly to remove the speck from your brother's eye. In other words, tend to your own business. tend to your own business, Mill. Because you see, this was never about Robbie. Your videos were never about Robbie or me or anyone else. It was about you growing a drama channel like everyone else growing a drama channel around the true crime community. You were just trying to sprinkle in Bible passages and random beatitudes to try to make yourself look good. And you got caught. Oopsie. But we're going to leave him behind. The other night, Miss Cooper, Ms. Natasha Cooper, made a community post. Oh, before I get into this, the fact that I address Ms. Cooper in a video does not mean I'm suddenly obsessed with her. I didn't do any commentary on my channel for nearly a month, but suddenly I do a commentary video and suddenly I'm obsessed, according to some people. And that's not how it works. Miss Cooper addresses me all the time. And you people who are calling me obsessed aren't calling her obsessed. What is that? But anyway, Ms. Cooper says, attention, Chroma Drama established creators. This is your opportunity to stand up for what's right and put a stop to the absolute ridiculous behavior being displayed by so many. If we don't take a stand together, put aside petty differences, and put a stop to this behavior and those doing it, someone is going to get hurt or worse. If you have been a creator in this community longer than a year, put your money where your mouth is and let's talk about this and work together to stop it. Tonight at 9 p.m. Central Time is our chance to stand up together and speak up about who the real problems in this community are. I hope you will all join me. Well, she's had this panel before. The last time she had this panel, she said that the only way you would be allowed to talk on this panel would be if you became a paying member of her channel. And somehow, no one came except me. I decided that if I was going to be trashed, I was going to pay that lowest membership tier fee and respond to it. That fee was $2.99 at that moment because she raised it for the occasion. And I listened. And the panel was no panel. No one was allowed to come up on the panel. It was roughly 45 minutes-ish of Natasha asking what she ever did to anybody to deserve the treatment that she was receiving, and then railing at everyone who hadn't shown up. She finally attacked me for paying the fee. And then, after all that, she finally said that people could come talk. And I was like, forget this. This was a joke. And she decided she was going to try this again. And I don't know who could have predicted this. I don't know who could have predicted this. But shockingly, this became Natasha asking anyone who might have come up on the panel what she did to deserve the treatment that she's been receiving. And whenever anyone actually did try to talk to her, she said, well, yeah, but what did I ever do? Whenever they tried to mention any problem that was not her, she said, yes, but what did I ever do? And there were several people that she refused to talk to. This thing says if you have been a creator in this community longer than a year. It does not say if you have been a creator, any creator other than Voices. Voices was ready to put her money where her mouth was. She was ready to talk. Maybe the problem was a creator who's been booted from the platform 16 times. Because NC is still claiming that she never does anything to anyone who hasn't somehow offended her first. And I got newsflash for you. Although it's hardly new, but I got newsflash for you. She attacked me first, twice. And why does being a creator longer than a year matter? Why did that matter, Ms. Cooper? Why did that matter? So, of course, nothing was worked out in this meeting because nothing could be worked out with caveats like that. Okay, I promised you all some fun. So I'm going to take a cue from the heavy drama stream for a moment. So we're going to have a dramatic reading. Let me get over to set my stream the way I like it for the heavy drama stream. Actually, I'll just leave it like this, so you all will be surprised. Well, you won't, I'm sure you already saw it, so I'll just read it just like this. And now a dramatic reading of the classic the classic epic poem, Big Balls. Well, I'm upper class, high society, God's gift to ballroom notoriety. And I always fill my ballroom. The event is never small. The social pages say I've got the biggest balls of all. I've got big balls. I've got big balls. And they're such big balls. And they're fancy big balls. And he's got big balls. And she's got big balls. But we've got the biggest balls of them all. And my balls are always bouncing, my ballroom always full, and everybody comes and comes again. If your name is on the guest list, no one can take you higher. Everybody says I've got great balls of fire. I've got big balls. Oh, I've got big balls. And they're such big balls. Fancy big balls. And he's got big balls. And she's got big balls. But we've got the biggest balls of them all. Some balls are held for charity and some for fancy dress. But when they're held for pleasure, they're the balls that I like best. My balls are always bouncing to the left and to the right. It's my belief that my big balls should be held every night. We've got big balls. We've got big balls. We've got big balls. Fancy big balls. He's got big balls. She's got big balls. But we've got the biggest balls of them all. And I'm just itching to tell you about them. Oh, we had such wonderful fun. Seafood cocktail, crabs, crayfish. But we've got the biggest balls of them all. Bollocks! Knackers! Oh my. Now, let me get a drink. I already addressed this on Mama Knows Best stream. But to recap, Luther. To really recap, I tried to keep Lufa from being sued, and through a series of unfortunate events, AJ wound up attacking Lufa several times. Lufa blamed me for AJ's attacks. And since then, she attacked me several times. Then we reconciled, and then suddenly, magically, she decided to start attacking me again. Around the time that Natasha started attacking me again. And here's where we are. I was told I needed to go look at that Lufa's channel. And so I did, even though I don't look at Lufa's channel. Lufa is irrelevant. But Lufa had posted this on her community wall. She wrote, "Is Mrs. P still online? Yes, she is. She's just telling people she's not. If not, why is still running his perv mouth? Please let me know. He seems to think he's under the umbrella of Noodle Mash's personal protective order." Well, it's a stalking order, Lufa. And here's a newsflash. According to the attorney of one Noodle Mash, I'm correct. No man who has been accused of being inappropriate with his child, who neglected his wife, which I believe led to her untimely passing, well, you're a horrible human being, though, Lufa. And you weren't there in 2014 or 2015. And all you know is what I told you in one stream. The only accusation was made was by one 9-year-old who wanted to go live with her foster mom again, and who was told by her classmates that that was the way to get to go do that. And I never neglected my wife. She stole medication from me. And then she wrote, had 7 social workers and his own child accuse him of heinous things. And you still effing with him. And let's dissect this a minute, Lufa. Let's dissect it. Just talked about the child accusation. It was fully investigated by the police, who found I did nothing because I did nothing. And 7 social workers, you know how many of them actually had been in my case? 1. That 1 was told by the police officer who investigated my case that I hadn't done anything. And the other 6 I had never seen before in my life. And your statement, and you all still effing with him? Well, if I'm so dangerous, why are you effing with me? This is your opinion based. This is my opinion based on the story he told on NC's. Well, you don't remember it very well. Why is no one calling out his behavior towards women and children, in my opinion, allegedly? Because I don't have any behavior towards women and children, allegedly. Because you can't name any. Any behavior you saw was on NC's panel, which I've apologized for. And the behavior that was on NC's panel, she fully endorsed. And when I apologized for it, she became offended. Because it cast her in a bad light because she allowed it. I have audio of Kim and GW discussing his behavior and charges. At the point you wrote this, no, you didn't. And you still don't. I believe all children, including mine. You've never talked to mine. My oldest, who made the accusation when she was 9, lived with me for the past year before she went to college. She was just with me this past weekend. You all are holding a woman with severe disabilities accountable, but not child abusers. We most certainly do hold child abusers accountable. What's wrong with you people, all allegedly, in my opinion? Well, your opinion's crap. Let's see, that's disposed of. And no, it's not actually. Your opinion goes here and there and everywhere and every which way, but we're going to get to in a minute why you're actually saying these things. Here's a few people from the comments. Just a few. We'll get to the important one here in a minute. NC says, amen. I just saw that and I'm about to address it. And she did address part of it in her 20-minute tirade that got her reported for inciting hate. Floating Memories saying, I'm shocked he did these things and is being supported. I'm being supported because I didn't do these things, dear. Remember, if you had been around at the time, you would have heard that Lufa forced the ultimate choice on all our mutual friends of you can be friends with him, but you can't be friends with me anymore. So you all choose. And almost all of them chose me because she forced the choice. And then Floating Memories says, it says a lot about the kind of people here. What, people that believe evidence? People that believe evidence. Yes, it does say a lot about the kind of people here. Then Mrs. B saying, 100% accurate, Lufa. How would you know? Were you living in my house in 2014 and 2015? Then Miss Liverbird saying, he has always been perverse and inappropriate on here, just like he has been in real life. And how would you know? How would you know? Were you around when I was born? Have you been around since I started playing on the internet in 1993? Then she said, I believe his children. I really do. You've never spoken to my children. Anyone who supports that behavior, shame on you. What behavior? Also, he flip-flops when his friends do and inserts himself in the middle of drama. Whose drama? And who's flip-flopping? The only one who flip-flops is Natasha whenever she hears any comment she doesn't like. He was so anti-Noodle Mash. Now he's her biggest supporter. I'm one of her supporters. If you hadn't noticed, Mrs. Portland turned on me because Hooker started sending her bullshit. And I tried to reorient her to reality for weeks. But once Mrs. Portland was gone, I started seeing the forest for the trees and caught every lie. And yes, I'm going to support the truth. His obsession with Natasha is not normal either. He's a creep who knows her every move. Oh, am I parked out in Defuniak Springs? Last I checked, I live hundreds of miles away. I have a job. I help hundreds of patients every day. And I assure you, none of them are named Natasha Cooper. If anyone's obsessed with Natasha, it's all the people who keep going and supporting her financially when they know she's lying to them. As has been proven time and time and time and time again. Now, Lufa's comments here have to be read from the bottom to the top. The bottom one says, timestamp 2 hours 40 minutes. And she posted an old Granny's Watching stream where she's talking recent events with Life in the Red Camp. And I went and listened at 2 hours and 40 minutes, and it was Jessica Lynn and Kim talking about me and trashing me after I had done my stream where I talked about my life on Natasha's stream. But that was from before I left Natasha the first time. And newsflash, after I left Natasha the first time, I made peace with Jessica Lynn and I made peace with Kim. I don't care what they said in that. It doesn't matter to me. We've all moved past that. We all know each other better. We aren't those people. Luffy didn't tell you that. Now, I had reported that post that I showed from loofah for harassment and hateful content and misinformation. And I had also shown it to Kim and Crafted because Kim was mentioned. And Kim and Crafted had highlighted it on one of their streams, leading loofah to voluntarily take it down before YouTube came crashing down on her. And then she posted, "Now leave me alone, Kim, Crafton, and whoever you're tied to." Probably a good choice to take it down, loofah. The next post says, "I'm downloading clips of GW and Kim discussing someone, the weirdo, where I got the idea of vile behavior. How do you forgive something like this? Why is it okay now?" Because there was nothing to forgive. Guess inappropriate behavior with children allegedly is okay now. No, it isn't. Like GW is all of a sudden racist when you were friends at the time. Bottom line, it's your hate for Natasha. You're no advocate for anyone, Kim, but your own agenda. Full video on my community post. Here it is. Here's the real issue. Here's the real issue. She's doing it for Natasha. And you'll see it again in a minute. Here it is. See the picture? No bond is stronger than two people who hate the same person. Guess what? Natasha and Loofah both hate me. Loofah saying, "I'm out of here for a few days. Yeah, even inappropriate behavior is now okay," shaking my damn head. What inappropriate behavior? Why victims don't come forward? Because people accept these people because it benefits them. You're saying that people don't come forward because people are demanding evidence when you're making false claims? You're saying people don't come forward because people want evidence when you're making false claims. I would rather live in a pile of shit than forgive a child abuser. That's your prerogative, but I'm not one. You who support this person, you can say I'm overreacting or it's not my business. No, I'm saying you're lying. Tell you what, as a survivor, it is my business. It's not your business to lie about me. I know what it feels like to be abused by people who are supposed to protect and love you. That's fine, but you can't lie. You know what's even sicker is I still love my parents and hope someday they would love me and say it. Go ahead and dismiss me. I'm just a survivor, so continue to shame me. Yes, I'm illiterate, but you know I'm right. No, you're lying. You're still lying. And you went through some horrific things, Lufa, but that doesn't make you not a liar. And here goes Lufa again. Got to read from the bottom up. Please feel free to share so I can stop the narrative that it was me, Natasha, and Mrs. P that spoke out and exposed their new BFF. But he's okay now because he hates Mrs. P and Natasha. Shaking my MFing head. First of all, I don't hate Mrs. P. I tried to keep her from being sued for weeks. I don't even hate Natasha. And they haven't exposed me for anything because there's nothing to expose. But that's brave, clipping Granny's watching. Who wants to bet she copyright strikes you? Lufa saying, I would appreciate it if everyone on my comment section not bring up Mrs. P or Noodle Mash. I refuse to give Noodle Mash content anymore. Best we can do is ignore her, and maybe she will leave us and Mrs. P alone and ride off into the sunset so I don't have to look or hear about her anymore. Thanks, everyone. So, guess what? Now you're my content. Because you lied. You lied. We were getting along until you turned on me and started lying. We had reconciled and everything. But nothing had happened between us. We had not had one cross word. But the instant Natasha turned on me, you turned on me for no reason. It started all this bullshit. Lufa posting weird stuff. A Morgan Freeman meme saying attacking people with disabilities is the lowest display of power I can think of. I have no idea if this is even his quote. And I haven't attacked anyone with disabilities. But Mrs. Portland was going to get brought back to reality. You don't get to just start lying just because you have a mental issue. Mrs. Portland can't do it, and Lufa can't do it. And then Lufa again, got to start from the bottom. I'm frustrated. I'm going to bed. I don't think people understand what I'm saying or my point. Yes, I'm having a meltdown. Excuse me while I deal with it. Thank you. No, we know you're clearly having a meltdown, Lufa. Good night. Explaining my meltdowns and the shame and guilt I feel after. You clearly don't feel very guilty. Hi, everyone. Just wanted everyone to know that I appreciate everyone's comments. Okay, almost everyone's comments. All I ask if you choose to comment, please don't leave me a book, etc. When I see comments with paragraphs, my brain sometimes gets overwhelmed and overloaded, and I start to cry or self-soothe. Stimming is part of being on the spectrum. So more than a paragraph somehow triggers me. Don't ask, I don't know either. Thank you, I appreciate it very much. I am trying to make people more aware of adults on the spectrum. So then we can begin to understand Mrs. P, who has it way harder than I do, with more diagnoses than most of us are aware of. If you see me, who is high functioning, having meltdowns, maybe more people will have a better understanding on Mrs. P and have more compassion for our most vulnerable. Crying emoji. It's not easy, guys. Not even on the small scale I struggle with. Luther. I have tried my best to be compassionate with you. I have come to help you when our friends have come to get me, when you were having meltdowns, when we were getting along. I've tried to talk you down when you were raging, and you have threatened me when we were getting along. But at no point do I have to tolerate it when you accuse me of the things that you have accused me of. Ever. I don't tolerate it from Mrs. P, and I won't tolerate it from you. Oh, but remember that first post? Remember that first post? There's one comment I haven't highlighted yet. Hooker. Boom! There it is. You know, Hooker, supposedly just split from NC, who was hanging out with Robbie on Robbie's stream. I debated how to deal with this for a while. I've been told that if I would just talk to her, she's completely reasonable. But does supporting Lufa's comments like that seem reasonable to anyone? No, it's not. And she hasn't been back to Robbie's chats since she posted this. I don't know if he asked her not to come back or if she's just ashamed of herself, but she hasn't been back either way. But but Renee Sunshine asked Hooker, Hooker, what exactly will you gain from continuing this harassment of Noodle Mash? I'm being serious. What are you getting from doing this? Will it make your life better or wiser? Will others come here to her page and be proud of you and want to become members? I don't get it. Don't become NC. We don't need another bully or scammer. Hooker answered this because it was on her one of her posts. Hooker said, "Fair enough, I'm going to answer you. Nothing. I gained nothing. I'm glad someone was finally smart enough to ask. The same thing I gained from trying to help Mrs. P. And only 5 people knew I was doing that until someone else made it public. I gained nothing. In fact, I lost the only thing I cared about. But as long as people continue to harass, make videos about, put unwarranted legal actions against, and send threatening emails to a mentally disabled woman until it is all dropped, I continue to do whatever the F I decide to do. Y'all sit over there snuggled up with a POS who read a 12-year-old child's therapy journal on the internet, only naming one of dozens of real-life things he's done. Let's talk racist, homophobic skits, etc., and want to cry selective outrage. F out of here, sorry, not sorry." Excuse me? Excuse me. Is this the narrative you're going to take? That you were doing nothing until somehow all this popped off against Mrs. Portland? And that somehow you're only attacking people who are friends with Lycan Legion? Really? Is that where you're going? Well, let me school all the children. Let me school all the children. You all remember this. If you follow me, you remember this. Here's Hooker and Misfit Jenny. This is the stream where Hooker and Misfit Jenny started the stupid rumor that I was trying to have relations with my cat. Of course, those rumors never went anywhere because they were stupid and incorrect. And no one's going to believe something that's stupid. But that stream is still up. And when Hooker started hanging out with Save Robbie on his streams, and he said something about us possibly getting along, I said there would be no way until I got a retraction of this. And this stream came down. And I got an explanation of why she started these rumors. And as you see, this stream is still up. But if she is going to take it down, we're going to use the hell out of it. She's claiming all of this started because everything popped off against Mrs. Portland. And it only involves all the people who were friends with Jamie. This is from July 14th, 2022. Guess what? Guess what? Noodle Mash is in the chat. Noodle Mash is in the chat when she makes these rumors up. It's before she ever contacts Mrs. Portland. At this point, she still openly hates Mrs. Portland. It's got nothing to do with Mrs. Portland. This explanation about Mrs. Portland here is bullshit. It's got nothing to do with Mrs. Portland. And dare I say, it's got nothing to do with Jamie. And if you don't believe that she hasn't already messaged Mrs. Portland, guess what? Oh, here's an aside. Lufa, hey girl. Here's a post from this same stream. I'm willing to be in bitch mode, but I also feel bad if it hurts someone who's in my videos. So if they request it to be taken down, I will. Did you feel bad when you were saying the things you were saying about me, Lufa? Did you feel bad? Did you feel bad? Did you feel bad for my daughters when you were saying the things you were saying about me? Or was trashing me just so important for you? But let me go to where I was going before. Hooker's stream was from July 14th, 2022. Hooker's first email to Mrs. Portland to try and break the peace agreement with Noodle Mash was on September 4th. September 4th. Fully lying, by the way, claiming that Portland Archives and Noodle Mash had all the supporters in there trying to derail Mrs. Portland's stream that was supposedly to support Natasha. The second email to Mrs. Portland from Hooker was September 8th. September 8th. So, all those explanations appear. or just bullshit. And does she really want to cry selective outrage when she's starting rumors about people having sex with animals and harassing disabled people herself? I mean, some things just have to be called out. So, man, these eyes are still sexy. I hope you enjoyed this stream. If you did, throw me a like. Subscribe if you're new, and hit that bell icon to be notified of my future posts. As always, super chats and super thanks are active. Man, look at these eyes. Damn, I'm sexy. uh, Leave a comment. Anyway, you all know the drill. Uh, anyway, I'll talk to y'all next time.